All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Anaheim Chamber of Commerce, we'd like to welcome you all here tonight. This is number 3 of 4 candidate forums that we've been holding over the past couple of weeks for you folks to get a better understanding of our candidates that are running for the 2016 Anaheim City Council this election season. And we do have 2 folks here with us tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and let our moderator come on up and introduce them. So if you can please warm applause for Ms. Carolyn Cavecche, President and CEO of the Orange County Taxpayers Association.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here today, especially for this specific district. For those of you who don't know me, I served on the Orange City Council for 12 years, 6 as a directly elected mayor. So this district is near and dear to those of us in Orange, since we share a river. Just a couple announcements to start off. The first is that the chamber has requested that there's no videotaping this evening. And also, if you could be polite in your response to the candidates this evening, and we ask for no heckling or questions to come from the audience. I can tell you that it is very difficult to run for office. It's very difficult to sit in a candidate forum. And no matter who you're here supporting, or if you're just here specifically to get to know who your candidates are, they really do deserve your respect for being willing to step into this arena and sit at this table and take these questions. We have with us 2 of the 4 candidates. Steve Fessel is with us and Sandra Angel, 2 candidates. So if you can give them a round of applause. And for the 2 candidates, we have a timekeeper in the back. See her, she's waving her hand back there. And I will give you the times on how long you have for each question. And she's going to hold up a yellow card when you have 30 seconds left. And she says that's a red card. I believe that's pink. And so for the pink card, that means that your time is up. And if you could really just kind of finish your sentence that you're speaking. You don't have to stop mid-sentence, but finish up what you're saying. And with that, we'll have some fun today. And we'll get to know these 2 candidates if you don't know them. And find out about what their interests are and why they're running for City of Anaheim. And we'll start with a 1 minute or less to introduce yourself, and we decided to go with the first person would be in the ballot order, which Sandra, I believe you're on the ballot, so you're going to get to start first, and then Steve will let you answer the last question first. But for the candidates, you each have 1 minute. Just introduce yourselves to the people who are here. We'll start with Sandra.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming out. Stand up.
There's a microphone there too if you want to use it.
Can everybody hear me? Do you guys want me to use the mic?
Use the mic.
Yeah. Okay. Not a big fan of these things.
I know. You go. You're kicking away. Go for it.
My name is Sandra Angel, and I've been an Anaheim resident since 2003. And I've raised 3 boys here. And I'm in the accounting profession by trade. And there's a few things going on here in Anaheim that I disagree with. I disagree with I don't like the Arctic Center and the proposed streetcar. I think it's a waste of money. I just decided to run for city council because I'm a good accounting auditor. I have a really good eye for numbers, and I believe in doing the right thing when no one's looking. I love the city, and I want to keep an eye on its interests. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Steve, you're next.
And this is on. Hi, I'm Steve Fessel. I'll stand up. I do this at my adult education class. Born in Anaheim from parents that arrived in 1941. Got my first job here, met my wife, raised a family. I moved into this district in 1975, so I've been here a while. Attended Cal State Fullerton, got a degree in marketing, not political science, any of you poli-sci majors out there. I've been very civically active. Anaheim is my home. I've just recently ended a 50-year retail hardware career, so I can do this full time. And I see the pink card coming up, so I'll sit down. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to do a little bit longer the next one, and then this is great enthusiasm. I'm loving it, but but we can hold our applause a little bit to the end. So Steve will give you the first question next, and in a little more detail, and you guys can stay seated for these next ones. 2 minutes. Let's go a little more into detail on your personal history and your connection to the district and your connection to the city of Anaheim. So you can go a little more into depth now. 2 minutes. You're going to stand anyway, aren't you?
I'm going to stand. May
Go
I
for it.
stand?
You may
Okay,
stand.
okay.
2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. Again, I've already told you that I moved into this district in 1975. Again, raised a family. In addition to all of my other civic activities, which we may get into after a while, I've remained active in the district. While I did a stint at Public Utilities, I oversaw the undergrounding of the utilities on both State College and Sunkist over here. Traffic calming, I've been active in traffic calming, most recently at the intersection of Rio Vista and Wagner in front of the church. Street light and pavement repair, I was an advocate for that in the Baxter Street neighborhood recently. Of course, there's the battle of the power plant that some of you may remember here a year and a half or 2 years ago that threatened our community. We're almost across the street here, and I was the community face on that. So in addition, I've been active as a Public Utilities Board member, Planning Commissioner, sat on the Anaheim General Plan Advisory Committee for 4 years, and currently serve as Anaheim's Director to the Metropolitan Water District. They run the Colorado River Aqueduct to get our water here in Southern California. And I also chair the Anaheim Budget Committee. And I see one of our budget commissioners here, I think. Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Angel, 2 minutes. You've got a little more time. Personal history, connection to the city and the district.
Well, my personal, I actually lived in West Anaheim when I was a little girl, and then went up through grade school there, but I did moved back in 2003. I've always loved Anaheim. This is a tough guy to follow. He's got a pretty impressive resume. I just got done raising 3 boys. I had my oldest one just got back from Afghanistan, one just moved out, and one's just on his way into college. So as a budgeter, planner, fixer, debate moderator, of 3 boys, I have nothing to do now. So I'd like to apply my talents to the city of Anaheim because I love it so much.
Great, thank you very much. And just one thing I meant to tell you when we started, there will be an opportunity later to submit questions. So we will be handing out some cards in a little bit, or we'll hand them out you haven't handed them out yet, have we? Well, we've all, okay, they did it without even telling me. So as you're listening to the questions, as I go more in depth, fill them out, and I'll give you a heads up on when they'll be coming. So we'll have that. All right, these next questions are called the speed round, and I don't particularly care for speed rounds, but I do think these are pretty simple questions, and a lot of them aren't usually yes or no, but these tend to. Steve, I'm going to start with you on the first one, and then it's literally, do you support or oppose? So Steve, would you support or oppose a gate or entertainment tax?
Opposed.
Sandra? Support or oppose putting in a gate or entertainment tax into Anaheim? Would you support or oppose it? For any entertainment venue?
Oppose.
Okay, then you'll be next. Would you support or oppose a utility tax if that was to be put before you?
Oppose.
Steve?
Oppose.
Steve, would you support or oppose an increase to our sales tax in Anaheim?
Oppose.
Sandra?
I would oppose as well.
All right, then Sandra, would you support or oppose are you both familiar with the Anaheim Taxpayers Protection Act? So on the ballot, it basically
yes.
Says yes. All right, perfect. So are you going to be? Can we ask? Are you support or opposing that? We'll start with supporting it. Steve?
Support.
Great. And then Steve, a split roll property tax. If the state were to put that in, would you be supportive or opposing a split roll property tax?
I would oppose that.
That's where
I'm not sure what that is.
That's where businesses are taxed differently than residents, homes.
Oppose.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to start the regular questions, and again, be ready. So the first one is you both have 2 minutes. So Sandra, we're going to start with you. You were the last one. What is your number one priority for the 5th District in Anaheim? And you have 2 minutes. What would be your first priority if you get elected?
We have a lot of areas and the roads are really, really bad. My brand new car, I was coming down La Palma and a rock got kicked up and it did a lot of damage to my car. That's very upsetting. And we're not Beverly Hills, but we're not Compton either, and that's inexcusable. So that's my number one.
Great.
The roads.
Steve, number one priority if you get elected for District 5?
Public safety is the number one job of government, whether it's federal or state or city. But right behind that, what I've heard from every resident that I've talked to, and it's been hundreds now, is that, again, as Angel said, as Angel said, we need to put more resources into our community infrastructure. Streets, parks, park playgrounds, park restrooms, sidewalks, infrastructure, street lights. I hear it time and time again that not only the roadways, but frankly the community really cares about the 75 feet in front of their homes, and they're very plain and clear on that. So we have to allocate proper funds to that, and with Anaheim's very, very robust budget, that's possible.
Okay. All right, Steve, how would you specifically address the homeless issue? We're right along the river here. So how would you specifically address the homeless issue in Anaheim, including those in your parks?
Well, it's not an Anaheim problem, it's a nationwide problem. And the answers are tough. We can't arrest them, we can't move them. They have all the rights as citizens as we do, which we all, I think, are aware of. We have homeless encampments up and down the river. Nobody is proud of that. This works against the quality of life of everybody in this room, including ourselves. Currently, though, and I don't know if all of you are aware, Anaheim, through Anaheim's nonprofits in conjunction with police and fire, have placed over 500 homeless individuals back with family and friends across the country. I think we have to continue to work on that and promote that. The fire and police are the first responders. They are really the ones that we call upon to care for us and look out for us, and also the homeless as well. We have to continue to support the police and fire. The homeless in the parks are a very, very difficult situation because of the fact that they work such hardship on the parks. The parks are really getting beat up by the homeless. I'm sorry, but there is no easy answer to this. We just have to keep working on it.
Okay. Sandra, what about you? How would you address specifically the homeless issue in Anaheim?
I agree with Steve that the homeless issue, it is a tough one. It's an issue that is growing. I feel for the homeless, but it's like on the other side of the coin. It's like they tear up the parks. They're a lot of them they trash the neighborhoods. They're not very clean. I actually know that there's almost $200 million in Orange County's 13Y funds. They're sitting there for the mental health, but the government restrictions they're so strict. No one can qualify to reach out to these mentally ill people, and that is a big problem of the homeless. We need to be able to utilize those funds to help to help the mentally ill, to provide services and, begin to remedy this problem, to chip away. There's no easy fix for it, but it needs to be a slow and sure process. It's, we got to remedy it.
All right, Sandra, let's move over to public safety then and talk about crime. Do you have any ideas or beliefs on what you think might be the most effective way to combat crime in your neighborhoods, or any plans for that?
I'm a big fan of Neighborhood Watch. I do believe in public safety and a good, strong police force, a good supported police force. But also, neighbor helping neighbor is without parallel, because cops can't be on our street, on our corner, by our house every time. Get to know your neighbors. Look out for each other. I've called the cops several times. I know who belongs at my neighbor's house, and I know who does not. And if someone does not, I'm on the phone. And I appreciate when my neighbors do that. So, maybe neighborhood outreach and bring back the old Neighborhood Watch programs. Maybe that would help.
Steve, what do you think? Any plans, or what do you think is the most effective way to combat crime in the neighborhoods?
Vigilant neighbors are the greatest deterrent to crime. And we know that. It's been proven time and time again. As I've been walking around the neighborhoods, I've asked many of the neighbors, some of you I think have probably asked, do you have a active neighborhood watch? In our immediate community, we do, and I'm part of that. But neighborhood watch is the single biggest thing that we can do as, I think, neighbors. On top of that is community policing. Community policing is actually getting boots on the ground in the neighborhoods, helping us as residents police our neighbors. We know who's supposed to be there. We know who's not supposed to be there. Working with our police officers, our code enforcement, to try to, again, work together to combat crime. No one of us can combat crime by ourselves. All of us together can work together and combat crime. There's just literally not enough police officers. My son's a police officer, and he's told me hundreds of times, Dad, there are not enough cops if the community at large doesn't help self-police. And he's absolutely right, and I agree. Thank you.
All right, we're going to switch more now to a district-specific issue, and that was a few years ago, the Orange County Water District's attempt to build the power plant off Ball Road, and it was opposed by quite a few Anaheim citizens, thousands of Anaheim citizens, and eventually the project did move forward. So Steve, we'll start with you about asking what was your stance on the project at the time, and were you involved at all in any efforts, pro or against?
Stop the power plant, my favorite community subject. That was opposed.
2 minutes.
I know, that was opposed by civic government, business, and community, and I was the face of the community opposition. I attended almost every Orange County Water District board meeting. They weren't pleasant either. Organized community groups in opposition, put together a email list that I sent out regularly to update the community on what was happening. Literally walked some neighborhoods to get community members, aware of the threat that we had in our own neighborhood, literally across the street from here almost. In addition to that, I worked a little bit behind the scenes with city government and our business community to actually contact each and every water district board member and tried to encourage them to get a different perspective on this. Despite all this opposition, incidentally, the board did actually endorse the power plant, and one of the toughest members on the board, and I won't name names, but one of our opposition candidates worked for that gentleman. And any of you out there who remember the power plant issue, just bear in mind that there are strengths out there that are not forgotten. So anyway, I literally was the face, the community face of Stop the Power Plant. And it was nice to get all the community together. We really worked great together. Thank you.
Okay, Sandra, to you then, on the power plant issue, did you have a stance on the project in that time, and any involvement at all?
No, I did oppose it, but I wasn't really active at that time. I was a caregiver for a terminal family member at the time.
Good, but you were opposed?
Definitely.
Okay, perfect. All right, they're going to be coming by and collecting your questions in just a couple minutes. I believe they're going to do 3 random picks from that and just hand them up to me. So they're going to start coming by. All right, Sandra, we're going to talk to you now about Arctic. And it's no matter how you felt about it, it's built and it's there. So, but let's talk about what can happen with it now. So what would you encourage as far as more ridership or use of the facility going forward at this point? How do you see, since it's in your district, how would you see that going forward?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because, well, I know why it was built, and the intentions were all well and good, but that bullet train, it's not going to happen. $45 million over budget with no track hitting the ground, that's just unacceptable. And so, I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, maybe changing the purpose of it or something. I mean, the Fullerton's got a really killer train station. It's got a restaurant and a bar. That's the one I use myself. Honestly, that's a really tough one. I'm going to have to be honest and say I'm not sure at this point. I'm going to have to give that more thought.
Okay. Steve, any ideas at all about either encouraging more ridership or how to use the facility another use?
Well, often major public works facilities we grow into. As an example, the Metropolitan Water District, built in 1941, the Colorado River Aqueduct. It started delivering water in 1941. We didn't need the water until 1960. I would say at some point in the future we will grow into the facility. However, what can we do now? It would be nice to get some great restaurants in there. Destination restaurants, not little coffee shops, but a destination restaurant that actually we in the neighborhood could actually want to go and visit. It's a interesting architectural facility. One issue that some of us may or may not be aware of is there is no direct bus connection between that to any of our local airports. You cannot take an airport bus from Arctic to LAX. There are other ways to get to LAX, but not through Arctic. So that's certainly a sharp corner that we have to address, I believe, immediately. It's a great looking facility. We just need more ridership. What I'm for is a different, we haven't talked about the streetcar, but I will mention that I am for and pro some kind of in-resort transportation, but not necessarily a streetcar, not necessarily a monorail, something that gets our 23 million visitors a year that come to this city and adequately get them throughout the resort district. Some way to get them from Arctic to their final destination without multiple transfers. And we don't have that yet. And so we all have to work on that.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk about the resort district a little bit, because that's always a big issue, especially in Anaheim. So Steve, we're going to start with you. Do you think Anaheim is better off because of having the resort district here? I guess also, what would Anaheim look like without the resort district? So just give your opinions now about what the resort district brings to Anaheim.
Well, the resort district is big business. Anaheim would be a much different community. I think we all realize that without the resort. It's in 2015, revenue over expenses, and that's including a $77 million debt burden that everybody keeps reminding me of. We still were in the black, over $66 million. 2016, 2017, it looks like it's going to be over $70 million. That's $70 million that goes right to Anaheim's, if you want to call it bottom line, our general fund. That's almost 20, in fact, that exceeds 25% of our general fund. If the resort district went away tomorrow and we wanted to keep services to our community, the rest of Anaheim, exactly the same, we would have to come up with $70 million. And I don't know how else to do that other than raise taxes. In Anaheim, rather than putting tax burden on our residents, we put the tax burden on the resort district. And with 23 million visitors a year coming to Anaheim, they don't seem to mind the tax burden that we place on them. I don't want to put the tax burden on running this city any more than possible on all of our backs.
Okay, Sandra, the resort district, what do you think? Better off? What are your opinions on it?
Oh, we're definitely better off with the resort district. But do I agree with the tax giveaways? No, I don't think it's Disneyland, for crying out loud. They're going to come anyway. I don't think we need to do these big giveaways. I think they're perhaps giving. I think there's ulterior motives there. Like I said, I disagree that you don't need to be lured to Disneyland. You're going to have almost maximum capacity all year round. There's just families are crazy for Disneyland. But it is the heartbeat of Anaheim, and it's good money for us. But I do think that we need to keep an eye on the favoritism and the ulterior motives that go on through the dealings.
Okay, I have 3 questions. They're great questions, by the way. So, Sandra, the first one's going to go right back to you. And you spoke a little bit about this, but you've got a minute now to go in more in relief. And this isn't just about Disney; it's about all of the hotels.
Okay.
So, would you go along with the tax relief, the tax rebate that the council gave to the hotels that are going to be built? the tax rebate that they just passed, the relief,
Uh-huh.
would you have voted for that?
Probably not, because two of them were Chinese investors, and I don't like that.
Okay, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the next question, Steve, for you first. Anaheim City employee pension liability in July of 2015 was $560 million. What do you think the solution to that is?
Well, it's now down to $506 million in the latest budget document, by the way. So it's moving in the right direction. We certainly need budget, we certainly need retirement, changes. This is it's a $500 million unfunded liability. It's moving in the right direction. Retirement programs and PERS have changed. They are the members of our police and fire and other city services are participating at a higher level now than they used to. It's still